So I'm totally back on my Raging Bolt believing and excitement. I remember trying Raging Bolt with, Sandy Shocks and Gardevoir, and that's still cool to play. But with the upcoming set, Twilight Masquerade in the Pokemon TCG, we're gonna have Teal Mask Ogerpon among the other Ogerpons and other things, and this might be perfect for Raging Bolt, and so I've gotta talk about this Raging Bolt Teal Mask Ogerpon deck. I haven't seen too much talk about it yet, so I wanted to kind of share the info and we can just go into it. Two energy, different energy, lightning and fighting. You can discard energy from your Pokemon, any energy, all over, and then does 70 for each. Cool stuff. And then what is going on with Teal Mask? I've got my black and white guys here, but the Teal Mask Ogerpon card has the ability Teal Dance. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic grass energy card from your hand to this Pokemon. If you attach energy to this Pokemon in this way, draw a card. You get each turn, if you're holding on to grass, you're gonna be attaching and then being able to draw a card. And that's pretty great, especially if you have 2 or 3 of these guys set up. He's got 210 HP and a retreat cost of 1, and then he does have an attack too, Myriad Leaf Shower, long one. This attack does 30 more damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. Very interesting stuff. And so, with these guys together, among other cards, we're gonna have fun. I think it's gonna be fun. Let's look briefly at some decks with it. So first off, I've seen it with Squawk ability. Oh my gosh, I did it. I called him Squawk ability. Alright. We got Squawk ability in many. There's a lot of Greninja as well I'm seeing. You can also probably try running a Flutter Mane in here. So my first exposure to this deck actually was this one. And this one's pretty wild with 2 Squawk ability EX. So really trying to use that Squawk and Seize ability right off the bat. It's also got 1 Sandy Shocks EX. Sandy Shocks is paired with Raging Bolt before. If your opponent has taken 2 prize cards, you're on 4. Then it allows it to attach a fighting energy from the discard to it, which is really handy. Radiant Greninja is handy to just kind of draw. It is the draw support, it seems, as well as Ogerpon with the 1 as long as you have grass energy. But that stuff is going on. We do have a lot of grass energy. It's going to be like 7 is the usual number, and then 3 fighting, 3 lightning for Raging Bolt. We're also going to have 4 Professor Sada's Vitality, which is kind of expected. Very helpful. A Boss's Order is cool. Earthen Vessels to get it. 2 Bug Catching set cards. 2 or 3, whatever you want. This is a deck full of big basic Pokemon. And so I think that depending on how the meta shifts with Dragapult, maybe this could be a good deck because it doesn't really have little guys to pluck off. So that is something to look out for. You can also run different things. As we're seeing in the list here, we're seeing just kind of the usual stuff. There's going to be a lot of Poke Gear run so that you're able to hit Sadas. You're going to want to do that, and that's going to really power up the deck and everything and get things going. Energy flowing, everything. It's really interesting to see some of these lists, and I have been tweaking as well with some. These are very, very interesting, but yeah, I think it's gonna get refined little by little, I am sure, and so far so good. It looks really fun. If you can set up 1 or 2 of these guys consistently every turn, you can potentially also be drawing energy and also be drawing cards. It's super helpful. Really great, and again, just synergizes great with Raging Bolt, who's gonna be discarding that energy, and then with the cards in the deck, we're gonna be able to retrieve it and just keep going, and it's gonna be really, really fun. Squawk Ability EX is here, because this is also just a fast deck sometimes, it feels like. So if you're able to Squawk and Seize rather quickly in your first turn, obviously, when you can do it, you're able to see a lot more cards, a lot more grass energy, or a lot more stuff to set up with and get rolling for next turn. It's a really nice card to use. Radiant Greninja helps with draw, it helps with discarding energy for Sada, for stuff like that, and it's going to be really helpful to have on the board. Like I said, helps a lot with draw. Teal Mask Ogerpon is helping a lot with draw too, but it is only 1 card per turn, and we do have a lot of energy in the deck, so Radiant Greninja is a good choice. This is a weird one. This is just my personal weird thing I'm trying out with Sinistcha and Poltergeist, these single prizers. Poltergeist has 30 HP, but has the ability Storehouse Hideaway. As long as this Pokemon's on the bench, prevent all damage and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon. And then it evolves into Sinistra with 2 attacks, 1 Leaf Energy each. One is Curse Drop. Put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like, but then spill the tea. Discard up to 3 Grass Energy cards from your Pokemon. This attack does 70 for each card you discard in this way. So this could be potentially maybe just a really fun single prize attacker. If you're discarding 3 of them, you're doing 210, and sometimes I think Sinistra could swing around through because this deck is mostly just 2 prize Pokemon. There's a lot of big basics, stuff like that. Maybe Sinistra could add in an element of, you know, a single prize or attacker. I don't know. I'm just playing with the idea. I'm just playing with it in my little deck thing. But that one is not really standard so far that I've seen. But then we go into supporters and we're right back with the usual 4 Sada. 4 of Sada's Vitality is going to allow for us to attach energy to Raging Bolt, get some stuff on the board to discard, and also draw cards once we attach some energy. I've got 1 Iono here. I've got a Professor's Research just because of like speed and just having it in. That one you could probably cut or move around. I've got Boss's Orders, and that's that. Then it goes into items. Now, Bug Catching Set is the first one I've got here, and we're going to look at that. You could run like 2 or 3, but I think these are super handy. Look at this top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal up to 2 in any combination of Grass Pokemon and basic Grass Energy cards you find there, and put them into your hand. Then you shuffle the other cards into your deck. So, wonderful stuff. Use this to hit some Grass Energy or Grass Pokemon. I usually hit it and get, you know, either Teal Mask Ogerpon and a Grass Energy, or sometimes just get 2 Grass Energy, stuff like that. Sometimes you get nothing, but usually you'd get something because there's a lot of Grass Energy and Grass Pokemon in here. So it's really handy. I like this new item. Pokegear is going to be super helpful in searching out supporters. I wonder about potentially Tatsugiri as well, or as a replacement or one that could, you know, take that count down a little. But for now, there's like 4 Pokegear. You're going to look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal a supporter card there. This is, of course, just another item, and we do have Pokestop in a lot of lists, and so you're able to find that kind of easily, whereas maybe it's a little rougher with Tatsugiri. I don't know, but yeah, that's what we got so far with that. Very handy. Then, of course, 4 Nest Balls, since this is a deck of mostly basics and stuff, so it's going to be really handy to search them out with those. And then 2 Ultra Balls I've got. That's really handy for searching. Then we've got Energy Retrieval. You could do 2, you could do 3. I have some, and it's handy for getting, like I said, energy out of the discard pile, because Raging Bolt's thing does discard the energy. And so if you're going to discard your Grass Energy from your Teal Mask guys, you're going to want to retrieve them into your hand again to use that ability again, and then be able to just keep swinging. So energy retrieval is helpful. And then Palpad, as mentioned before, super helpful. Then I've got a switch card in here. Earthen Vessel is also going to be really helpful and handy. I've got 2 right now, but I need to probably add in another, or maybe even 2 more. Like, have a big count. Because these will find energy, and sometimes you need it. Because ideally, each turn would be full of, you know, these big actions. Then kind of a weird one, Superior Energy Retrieval. Like I said, Energy Retrieval has been spotted in many lists, but not so much Superior, but I wanted to try it out a little bit. And then Switch Cart, ideally you'd have 2 Switch Cart, but that's also just another way to swap Pokemon or, you know, heal and get them out of there, all that. As for an ace spec, I've seen Prime Catcher, which is probably a great choice. I've also seen Secret Box. I haven't seen too much Unfair Stamp, but I have it, you know, as a proxy right now. But Unfair Stamp, just kind of slot it in. Play it only if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's turn. Each player shuffles their hand into their deck. Then you draw 5, your opponent draws 2. It's a great card, but this deck isn't really running like big little little Pokemon that get knocked out too easily. Like I said, it's just an option. I think Prime Catcher is a great one. I think, other stuff might be good. Prime Catcher would help because you will ideally be having another Raging Bolt like charged up on the bench, and you can always just swap around like that easily. And yeah, I've got trekking shoes here. I did have two. I've seen lists with more than one, but I just have one for now, then a super rod, then the interesting rescue board. I put it in for the Sinistra, just so it can zoom around. It's got 1 retreat cost already, but then with it would have none. I don't know, I'm just thinking of ideas. Now, here's a more standard idea. 3 bravery charms. 3 bravery charms is going to be attached to Raging Bolt. Maybe you could even try attaching to Ogerpon, but if you want to make Raging Bolt bulkier, if you're taking Raging Bolt up and adding 50 HP, he's gonna be a bulky guy, and it's gonna be a lot harder to KO this guy, and so that's cool, especially if we have multiple. So that's why there is a lot of Bravery Charm. It can be handy. Then Pokestop, as I said, I've also seen Collapse Stadium in some lists. And then as for energy, there is 7 grass energy, which is a good amount of grass energy, and then 3 lightning, 3 fighting for our Raging Bolt. So that's the deck. I am having a ton of fun playing with this. I'm having a ton of fun testing it out, and I just love the concept, and I love the idea of Raging Bolt getting new stuff that might make it more viable. Love Raging Bolt, and I know a lot of other people love it too, and so I think people are going to be excited to try this thing out and try out some combinations and see if this can be a bigger thing. But for now, we are just testing things out, and once the set actually comes out, it's gonna be exciting to see what people create and stuff, and how things shake up. So thank you so much for watching this. Let me know your thoughts as well, your ideas. Let me know if I missed anything, if you think something might be better, all that. Thank you again, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye!